Hi everyone, and welcome to the Introduction to MATLAB video for MATLAB Programming for Engineers. In this video, what I want to do is talk a little bit about the objective of this video series, as well as to present the MATLAB environment to you and show you a little bit about MATLAB the program. So let's get started with the objectives of these videos. These videos are being set up so that you can learn MATLAB relatively quickly. So the goal of this is to get you up to speed and running in MATLAB as quickly as we can. So to do this, what we've done is we've taken a look at some of the research in how people learn, so cognitive science, as well as taken a look at some of the ways we can arrange the material so that hopefully you learn this quicker and better than you might otherwise have. So an example of this is one of these really common things that's showing up in cognitive science research, which is the importance of retrieval. So one of the things that we often think of as learning is me telling you something, and you listening to me tell you that thing. So this idea of passive sitting there and learning, or encoding the information I'm giving you. But what's much more important in this process is the idea of you actually taking that information in and starting to form that understanding or those neural pathways inside of your brain, and then essentially reaching back in there and retrieving that information or retrieving that content from your brain. And the more times you do that retrieval practice, the better your brain grows as a muscle. So we can think of this as this idea of a bodybuilder, right, is going to essentially work out their muscles in order to grow their muscles. You as a learner need to take your brain and work out your brain in the process through retrieval practice and other strategies that we're going to implement in this video series in order to enhance or strengthen your understanding and knowledge of this content area. So you're going to see occasionally videos like that, retrieval time, right? And when you see one of those videos, what we want you to do is to actually stop and really try and think through what we're asking you to do. So really try and go through the retrieval exercises. Try the additional exercises in addition to the ones provided in the videos so that you can retrieve the information and develop those neural pathways and build them, and see how we go, all right? So that's the objective in terms of learning and MATLAB. So let's get on to the MATLAB environment. So this is going to be our learning segment for today. All right, welcome back. So what I'm going to do here is just show you the MATLAB environment a little bit. Here, what I've got on my screen right next to me here is the MATLAB environment. So this is what you're going to see when you load MATLAB up inside of your computer. It should have a very similar setup as this when you load MATLAB up, because this is the default arrangement of the windows. So what we can see is the traditional ribbon bar across the top for all of these various tools that we can use. On the middle screen here, right over here, the middle screen, we have the command window. So the command window is essentially like a calculator. So this is where we can enter commands, and MATLAB will actually process those commands in the command window. On this side over here, which you can see highlighted in blue now, right behind me, is the current folder. So the current folder is going to tell us something about what are the current files that MATLAB has access to in the current folder. And we can change the current folder by going up here to the folder bar, right? So we can see up here, if we click this folder button here with the green down arrow, we can change our folder. All right. In addition to the current folder window, you can also see on the opposite side, way over there, is the workspace window. And the workspace window is going to tell us something about the information that MATLAB can access at a given point in time. So some of the key things up at the top here, there's a home button or a home tab. And this home tab allows you to actually change the layout. So if you click on the layout button here, you're able to actually change the layout to different things. You can click on the preferences button and you can actually change the preferences for your MATLAB window as well as other things. One of the things I'm going to just quickly do is to create a new script. So I'm going to click create a new script, and what you'll notice here is that MATLAB has created a new window, right? And it's created what is called an editor window. That editor window is a place where we can actually type things. So I'm going to just write here, this is a place to type computer code. All right, and we can see it's actually highlighting it in different colors. So one of the things I can do is actually place a % here, which turns it into a comment. We'll learn about those soon. And when we put a % here, it basically tells us, it changes this to green and tells us that's a comment. All right, so this is a area where we can actually start writing MATLAB programs. I'm just going to go through a couple of extra things here just to get us kind of started on the idea of MATLAB and programs and what this all looks like. So I can write down here a equals 1, right? And I can press enter, and what it shows me is it shows me that MATLAB has recognized that a equals 1. Up top here, I can see in my workspace that a has been created now, and it tells me that a is a variable in the workspace, right? I could also then say b equals 1 and hit enter, and you'll see that b appears also as a variable in the workspace. What's kind of neat is I can double click on that a, and what you can see is that the a has been, or the value of 1 for a has been inserted into what looks like a spreadsheet. And we'll talk a little bit more about how this information is put into the spreadsheet in the coming video. But for now, what we can see is it simply just put a value of 1, right, into the spreadsheet called a. And similarly, if we double click on b, it does the same thing. So that's kind of neat. Let me just close out this spreadsheet view. And what I want to show you is we can do the same thing over here, and I can say a, capital A in this case, equals 1, and b equals 1 over here. And just note, I've used capital letters for this second set. So here I'm saying a equals 1 and b equals 1. So this allows me now to actually change from lowercase to uppercase. You can also see that an editor window has appeared on the top ribbon bar here. And I'm just going to click run, which allows me to run those commands. And I'm just going to call this a test program video 1. And what we can see when we run this test program is that MATLAB has gone through in this script file, and it's essentially said, let me just run this first command and then the second command. And you can see it's created in the workspace an a and a b variable associated with this script file over here that we've created. So what you can see here is that we've got this basic system that has us able to create variables with values associated to them. The last cool thing I'm just going to show you here is I can type in a plus b down here, and I can press enter, and you can see that a plus b, because a was equal to 1 and b was equal to 1, is equal to 2. Similarly, I can do the same thing up in my script window up here, and I can say a plus b, and I get the answer of 2. I can call that new sum c. And what I can see now is c is equal to a plus b. And down here I can do lowercase c equals a plus b. So what we've been able to see today, and you're going to see this in the next video, is we've been able to create inputs to a problem. So we created these variables. We inputted values into those variables. So we took 1 and we put it into a, took 1 and we put it into b, And then we created a variable c that was the addition of a plus b. So these were inputs. So a and b had inputted values. C was created by a process. So a plus b is a process. It's a very simple process, but it's a process. We're going to focus a lot on these ideas of processes because a process can be very simple, like a plus b, or it can get much more complicated. And then the last thing that we see here is we got outputs. So we saw that when we took a and b and we created them, the output told us that a and b were equal to 1. And over here, if we take a look at c, we can see that a plus b equals c. So there was an output c. So we created inputs, we had a process, and we created outputs. Next video, we're actually going to go through this process of inputs, process, outputs on an example that's a little bit more complicated, but hopefully as we go through this, we can reinforce the idea that coding really is inputs, process, and process is going to get more complicated, and then outputs after that. All right, so let's go on to our summary. So in terms of today's video, what we were trying to do is just simply talk about the objective of these videos, and we talked a little bit about the cognitive science ideas, and this idea that if you put your effort into doing these videos and you do the work associated with it, hopefully we can get you up and running in MATLAB as soon as possible. The second thing we talked about was the MATLAB environment, and hopefully now when you load up MATLAB, it doesn't look like just a bunch of windows. You've got a little bit better understanding what those windows mean, where you can do things, and perhaps even try create a very simple A and B input and add them together to get C, or try some other things in terms of processes to see what you can do. So I'm going to encourage you to try that out to see if you can essentially close the book, turn off the video, and just code that up all by yourself. See if you can retrieve it from your brain and put it into the computer. All right, that's it for me. See you in next video.